Today's episode is brought to you by Forvis Mazars.
Sound Cartel.
From Sound Cartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. One of the biggest issues and biggest stresses business owners face is poor cash flow. Without money coming in on time, you'll struggle to pay staff and suppliers and could quickly find yourself facing insolvency. Werner Botha, Senior Manager at Forvis Mazars, says it's crucial to get on top of cash flow, and he shares some strategies on how to achieve that in a moment. First, a definition. Chris Ashmore asks Werner, what is cash flow exactly?
So profit is calculated when you deduct your expenses in an accounting period from the revenue that you've generated. This is different to cash flow. Cash flow reflects the changes in your cash balances from one period to the next. Of course, each business is there to make a profit. However, when the bottom line is favorable, big unpaid customer invoices, that will add pressure for you to continue trading. And as they say, cash is king, and they say that for a reason.
What are some early warning signs that a business may be experiencing cash flow problems?
So firstly, when it comes to receiving money, the reliance on big customers can cause some issues. And then further to that, having long outstanding invoices and those that are normally outside of the terms as agreed with the customer, that's an early sign. When paying suppliers, missing out on the discounts they offer when you pay it within a shorter period as agreed. And then holding excess inventory, that can also cause some issues, especially when your sales continue to fall. And I think probably one of the last ones, it's important to refrain from taking on excessive short-term debt, which you might find difficult to repay.
How can cash flow management issues impact a business's ability to, say, operate and grow?
It could strain your relationship with both your customers and suppliers. You know, when you're stressed and you're trying to get money in, you could find yourself calling your customers more than they would like to be called, and that could end up irritating them. And when you're not paying your suppliers on time, you might end up finding yourself in a position where you get poor service going forward or completely losing their business, their services or products. You might have to pass up on opportunities because you are unable to invest in additional assets to expand your operations. You could experience increase in stress at work. This will creep into your personal life. You could end up making poor business decisions because of the pressure. And like any staff, any employee, the morale would definitely drop if they do become aware of the cash flow issues you're experiencing, because no one wants to be paid their salaries late.
Absolutely. Now, are there any industries or types of businesses that are particularly susceptible to cash flow problems?
Some industries are more susceptible to experiencing cash flow issues, and I'd say it's probably for the following reasons. Customer payment terms could be longer in that specific industry. You could find it difficult to build a big client base if you're a new business before you get to a point of continued flow of income throughout the year. When you have to manufacture goods, there might be some high upfront cost, especially when you have to manufacture in high volume. Certain industries find themselves with inventory that is perishable, and you could end up having to write some of that inventory off. Significant downtime due to repairs and refurbishment could also put some pressure on you. And then I think probably the main thing to consider is the seasonality of your offering. If you only have 6 months of a year where you actually have an opportunity to produce sales, you need to make sure you're in a position to still maintain the expenses throughout the following 6 months. And the industries you find who have to be extremely careful when it comes to their cash flow forecast are those within hospitality, your service providers, manufacturers and wholesalers, those within food and beverage, and definitely the property industry.
There's always a next step for your business, so grow with clarity and confidence with Forvis Mazars, supporting you every step of the way. Move forward with Forvis Mazars. Visit forvismazars.com/au. That's FORVISMAZARS.com/au.
What strategies can businesses employ to improve their cash flow?
To have an updated cash flow forecast would be a good start. I'd base that on previous sales as a guide. When you're looking at taking on new assets, consider the options of lease versus purchase and see what the pros and cons would be. When you're doing invoicing, I think it's always a great idea to streamline that process to get paid quicker. An example of that would be to modernize your point of sale, if that's applicable to your business. Before entering contracts with new customers, I'd always advise to run a credit check to make sure that they can actually pay you back within the terms agreed. For those customers that you might have a relationship with, you could persuade them to pay their invoices earlier by offering a early payment discount. Try and make the most of leveraging off interest-free credit terms. That could always be beneficial to assist you with paying for certain items that are important to operating or running your business on a day-to-day basis. And then I think improving your inventory management system is also quite important. Rather look at a just-in-time system rather than a just-in-case system. When you're running a just-in-case system, you might find yourself in a position where you're holding on to inventory that you might not be able to sell. And as I mentioned earlier, try to avoid excess inventory on hand.
Any final thoughts on cash flow?
I think companies do find themselves forgetting about cash flow at certain points of their life cycle, business cycle. When the going is good, you kind of obviously fly high on cloud nine, but there are always exceptions to the rule and things can't always go well. But as soon as you hit the hard times, you're so stuck in just following the day-to-day that kept you going well that you're not sure how to adjust. So it's important to stay on top of cash flow forecast even when the going is good, rather than just trying to improve once you find yourself in difficult times.
That was Werner Botha, Senior Manager at Forvis Mazars. Business Essentials Daily is a Sound Cartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schildberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week.
Sound Cartel.
This episode was brought to you by Forvis Mazars. To find out more, visit forvismazars.com/au. That's FORVISMAZARS.com/au.